If you've ever wanted a modded Diablo 2 experience where you can farm to your heart's content, slay bosses, make interesting builds, craft items, and much more, all while playing in up to 4K resolution, Annihilus just might be the mod for you. Today I'll be going through a lot of what this mod has to offer and what makes it so special in comparison to others. Anyways, this is Annihilus. There's been a recent surge in interest for Annihilus, and because of that, I am here to explain what exactly Annihilus has to offer. Before I even go into all of the incredible things about Annihilus in specific, I just want to say that playing this mod has been a blast, and I wish you all can experience this too at launch. Annihilus is currently in the closed beta state at the time of recording, and will sooner rather than later go into open beta, followed by the official launch in Season 1. The mod is made by a small but very dedicated dev team that consists of Vav, Firehawk, Game Guy 999, and Necrolis. At this point of time, you might have noticed how good the game looks, right? This is because it's using a new graphics renderer, as well as FSR scaling. Because of this, you can run Annihilus even on a 4K monitor on full screen without even losing any quality at all. The game can also run up to 300 FPS without any issues at all. Annihilus is all about capturing souls to collect for your, well, Annihilus, which is a permanent charm in your inventory. I'll show you how this works. When you enter a zone where there's a soul to be collected, you'll get a message pop up with this text. You just need to find the super unique or boss in the zone, kill it, and they drop their soul. Click it, and that's all you really need to do. So, what exactly is the point of capturing these souls? Well, here comes the good part, the soul grid. This right here might look familiar. It's a passive skill tree, but in Diablo 2. The soul grid is actually inspired by Final Fantasy's sphere grid and not Path of Exile, but it is a passive tree nonetheless. You can spend your passive points, which is the souls, freely in this tree, branching out from the center. All characters have the same trees. There's lots of cool stuff coming in later seasons to expand on this system. Here's a small showcase of all of the keystones that you can build around. These are build enabling, and you can probably see why. You can probably already see how the soul grid can impact the entire way you build your character, but that's not all of it. Every single skill on every single class has been reworked or replaced. There are no synergies in the skill tree, and this lets you spend your points wherever you want instead of being forced into spending 60 to 80 points just to max a skill. Melee is an archetype that a lot of people like to play, but in vanilla, it's not that good. A lot of mods nowadays try to fix this issue by just adding melee splash to items or jewels, but that's just a lazy fix. In Annihilus, they took it a step further. They implemented some kind of AoE into every single skill. I'm gonna show you an example here, which is Smite. They made Smite more interesting, and it even works as an AoE clearing skill now. The more points you have in your Holy Shield, while it's active, you get other effects for your Smite skill. Unfortunately, I can't really show you too much more of the skills because it would have taken hours upon hours to go through them all. However, I'll include some clips in the background while we talk about other things. Speaking of other things, immunities in Diablo 2 is a pretty big deal. I think some people probably like immunities in the game and that you kind of have to build around them, but most people probably don't. Immunities are a thing of the past. They don't exist in Annihilus, and that kind of gives you more freedom to build your characters as you please, without being forced or pigeonholed into getting Pierce or Infinity even, or maybe even speccing multiple elements in your skill tree. Now you can just do whatever you want. Crafting is a big thing nowadays in ARPGs, but wasn't really in Diablo 2. Annihilus has the Path of Exile crafting system implemented into the game, which allows for extensive crafting. You can craft using these things called Rift Energies. Rift energies exist in all kinds of forms and shapes, and they all do different things. These can drop anywhere and from any monsters. You get rift energies a lot just by playing through the campaign even, which lets you craft some gear while leveling your character. This feels really good because you might not find any gear, right? You could just pick up a white item, throw a brilliant energy, and now suddenly you might have something usable. Do you ever get tired of potion management and perhaps even having stash tabs, inventories, or even cubes filled to the brim with full rejuvs? Annihilus is here to save you with their new potion system. Potions in Annihilus have a duration and a cooldown. These potions can all be crafted to give you very strong benefits depending on what you need. I'll give you an example how it looks when crafting potions. Here we have a greater speed potion. It gives you 40% run speed for its duration. We will start by using a radiant rift energy to upgrade the potion to magic, and follow that up by using an immense rift energy to give it another affix. You can entirely reroll a magic item using a transient rift energy if you're not happy with the outcome. Arguably, the most important thing when it comes to ARPGs are items, and I think Annihilus really nails this. Unique items are overall more rare to find, but they all have their own unique modifiers that make them different from anything else in the game. Uniques come in 3 different tiers based on their item-based tier: normal, exceptional, and elite. Normal being the most common, and elite being very rare. I'll show you some examples of uniques here. From the uniques that I showed you, you could probably already tell that there's something special about them. This is the theme that they're going for, with every single unique item being something that you might be able to build around, or something that you might pick up and be like, that's kind of interesting actually. Maybe I could use this. Normal and exceptional uniques can be upgraded using a potent rift energy. Normal uniques can be upgraded twice, while exceptional can only be upgraded once. This is actually a pretty cool idea, because in this case you could maybe use the Nasher from the point where you started leveling your character, even up until endgame. You can even upgrade the bases of the items with a veiled rift energy. Another big system that has never been seen before in Diablo 2 is the new Runeword system. In town, you can see this enchanting tome, which you click to access the enchanting UI. The UI is simple and easy to understand, and runewords are now tiered. These tiers are the following: common, uncommon, rare, epic, legendary, and mythic. Runewords need to be unlocked by finding and learning runeword patterns. These can be found by slaying monsters in the world, but some are boss drop only. This system was made so you can enchant a runeword onto an item, which just means that you add stats to your item without using up the sockets. You can also enchant items with runewords that require more runes than max sockets on the item in particular. Runewords can be enchanted onto any item rarity, as you can see in the background. Yes, you heard that right. This works on magic, rare, or even unique items as well. There is, however, a backdraw. The higher rarity, the less stats you get from the runeword itself. This is so that it's not always optimal to make a runeword on a rare or unique, but at the same time, the fact that you just can unlocks a lot of possibilities. Now you might be thinking, this sounds great and all, but what about the endgame? Don't you worry, friend, Annihilus got you covered. Currently in the endgame we have Riftstones, greater Riftstones, world bosses, and also the Crucible. I'll go into depth with all of these, but let's just start with Riftstones for now. Alright, so the Riftstones are basically the mapping system of Annihilus. In Act 5, you can enter this little house, where you will be greeted by an altar. Clicking the altar and inserting a Riftstone opens it up, and you get a portal that can be entered up to 5 times. You can roll the Riftstone with your Rift energies, just like you can with items. The more mods on it, the more dangerous, but also more rewarding it gets. Each Riftstone has 2 levels, as well as a boss somewhere on the 2nd floor of the map. There's currently 5 tiers of Riftstones, and this is going to be your main way of farming items or XP. In Annihilus, there's multiple types of bosses. When you're running Riftstones, there's a small chance you can drop a greater Riftstone. This is a tier 6 unique Riftstone and will open up a boss fight. These bosses might seem a bit familiar. Every time you kill one of these bosses, they guarantee one of their special unique drops. Other bosses in the world come from going to fixed zones, where you can farm the same bosses over and over again until they eventually drop their special uniques. For some of these, you might even have to fight an entire rift encounter first before being able to even fight the boss. These rifts have fixed locations. Now for the Crucible. This is the endgame in Annihilus. The Crucible is a 50-level deep dungeon with timed zones that get increasingly more difficult each level and has boss fights every 10 levels. I can tell you right now that most people can't clear the entire Crucible because it's quite the challenge. The Crucible is built upon a point system. The faster you clear a level, the more points you get. Bigger levels have a larger timer and therefore could also grant more points. But what's with the point system though? The more points you have at the end of your run, the more loot you get. It also increases the chance of you getting the specific boss uniques that the Crucible has to offer. This, however, requires you to kill the bosses. What if you die in the Crucible? Your character will get teleported to a loot room where you'll get your rewards. It still counts as a death, so be wary all you hardcore gamers. The devs have said that there will be a leaderboard at some point for the Crucible that you can view in-game. There should be categories such as solo or group clears. This might lead to some potential events in the future surrounding the Crucible leaderboard. It might just be fun competing with friends or other people in the community. Now for the quality of life section of this video. This will be a long list and I might forget something, so forgive me in advance. There will be an armory where you can see the character's equipment, all their stats, how they spent their skill points, and even the soul grid. Trading is a big thing in Diablo 2. Currently the main way to trade will be through the Discord forum. There will be an in-game auction house sometime in the future, but this won't be in the game during Season 1. Be sure to join the Discord, by the way. The devs have confirmed that shared stash tabs and multiple stash tabs will come in the future, but won't be in during Season 1. There will be a quick cast bar for skills, which you can see in the background. There's a bigger cube, bigger inventory. Mercenaries can have full equipment slots including belts, rings, and amulets. There's a descriptive buff bar which shows icons of your skills, durations left on buffs, and if you hover over them you actually get info about them. Mercenaries have auto revive. There's a new aura system where you can reserve your auras on your mana bar. PvP is planned to be supported eventually, but currently it's not. There's a loot filter system in the game. There's even a death recap in the game. This will show you how you died, so you can figure out what you might have to improve on your character. There will be a disenchant system, which will basically be a button in your inventory, which will disenchant items and give you particles for rift energies. And when you have a stack of these particles, you get a full rift energy. There are no charms in the mod, so you won't have to worry about inventory management that much. You can unsocket items by just right-clicking the socket. There will be free respecs until level 40. You can see stat ranges and mod tiers by using shift and control. You can stack runes and energies. You can shift-click to unstack. Items auto-identify on pickup. Town Portal is an innate skill on your character. Move only on left-click. Health bars on allies and enemies. Damage numbers on hits. This can be toggled on and off depending on what you like. Quivers and throwing weapons have no quantity and therefore can't break and won't be in need of repairing. There's no durability on items, there's no attack rating needed for hit chance because every single attack always hit, and there's also better movement in Annihilus. With all this being said, that was the end of the video. Feel free to check out Annihilus via the website or the Discord link. You can find these in the description. I stream Annihilus every now and then on Twitch, and you can find me on twitch.tv/LenzyFly. Thanks for watching.